Coming up in today's episode.
I don't stop at the compliment and say, oh, okay, thank you for the compliment. Okay, bye-bye now. Because there's a lot of value in gold that has not been mined from the rock. Welcome to Enter the Mind podcast, the most real talk, no nonsense podcast on the empowering of the mind. Once again, Kyra and I are here together to chat it up on everything about self-belief, confidence, manifestation, spirituality, psychology, self-empowerment, and much, much more. So, Kyra, let's start it off. You have some big events coming up.
I do, yes. I'm very excited. I'm going to be doing a guided meditation on the Amalfi Coast in Italy, which is going to be my first one. I've done a guided meditation before, but online. So I'm just super excited to be doing this in person. Plus, I'm like so bougie, and the Amalfi Coast is freaking beautiful. So I'm so excited. And then I was invited to speak at a women's mastermind in October by this awesome woman. Oh my goodness. She's super cool, and I'm super honored to be, it's her first event that she's putting on, and I'll be speaking there about soul, no other than soul. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So if people want to learn more about those, they go to your Instagram, right? Soul Designed Future.
Yeah, you can go to Soul Design Future. I'm sure that you'll find some information about either of them, or catch something about it. Soul Design Future.
That's great. Awesome. I'm feeling good myself. I just got back from Chicago. I attended a wedding for my cousin, and we were on the top floor of a 39-story hotel on the Chicago River, floor-to-ceiling windows. Actually, Batman the Dark Knight was filmed there. It was the scene of Bruce Wayne's penthouse. And so that's where we were dancing on Saturday night. Dope, huh?
You were dancing?
Yes, and I will say no more because it's going to be way too distracting for our listeners to hear about the 1,001 moves that I invented.
Oh my God, love it.
Just kidding. Thanks. So now that we've caught up, let's get to the topic of the day. Topic of the day is, we have a launching pad. We have a starting point, which is this concept of taking compliments or accepting compliments, right? So what made you think of this, or what's an example, or where do you see this coming up for people?
Well, I mean, I definitely see it a lot. And I always call people out when it happens, because I'm like, I know I used to do it. And then I read in a book, and it was like, there are a few different ways to deflect a compliment. So it's like, you can deflect it by being like, thank you, I like your shirt too, it's very cute. So like putting the attention on them immediately. And then there's another one where they downplay it. So it's like the downplay. You give a compliment, you're like, oh, thanks, it's not much, something like that. Or I think it's just like downright being like no, or something like that. But yeah, there are multiple ways to deflect a compliment. And once I understood that I was doing like all of them, I definitely just started like taking compliments. I really started like liking them, and I started loving them, and I started accepting them. And that's just what happened with the compliments. What about you?
Well, what I was going to say is when we were speaking earlier, it sounds like learning to take compliments you see as part of your greater evolution. Maybe a small part, but it's an element nonetheless of, right, becoming a better communicator, a better person, believing in yourself more, right?
I feel like it's about being comfortable with the situation of talking about you. So like whether you're talking about your business, like unrelated to a compliment, whether like you're talking about your business or whether you're talking about something that you're passionate about or a new company or a new idea that you want to start or that you have planned, you know, that confidence and the comfortability to be able to sit in that vibe with people like talking about you, and then like people complimenting you and really being able to sit in that.
I like that. I'm going to write something down here. Because if people don't like getting compliments, and this is, I think, something that I also learned over time as I've grown as a person. I think that I accept compliments. I'm happy with the way that I accept compliments today. I was not always that way. And I think in the past, one thing that would come up was there's an element, like you said, of having the attention on you and the social pressure and someone complimenting you and you becoming uneasy because now the attention is on you. But that leads to a bigger, deeper question that you must answer, which is, why is it bothersome to have the attention on you, right? Like, what do you need to work on? What have you not worked on? That because you haven't worked on it, now you're uncomfortable receiving compliments or having attention on you. I think that's one piece of it.
Definitely. And I can actually highly relate to that, because I'm going through like a big transition right now. I'm very like excited. It's just like there's been like a lot of rest going on, a lot of pondering and things like that, and a lot of like, it's almost like I'm learning a new role right now. Like I'm learning new scripts, like learning new things to say, learning new styles, learning new outfits, hairstyles, all of that. And recently when I went to this business event, I really didn't feel like talking to many people because I was like, I don't really want to be put on the spotlight right now. Like, I'm kind of coming out of like something that was super depressing for me like 6 months ago. Like living in Washington, like I'm happy to be back in Florida. No, like no lies, this is great. But I'm still like coming out of that. I'm going through this big transition, and I just didn't want to say something like wrong that didn't align with a higher version of me because I don't really know all my lines yet, right? And like I'm not saying that as a blockage, and I'm not using that as something to be like, I don't know, like hold me back, but it's genuinely something that felt aligned with me. Like I did not want to talk to many people. So I feel like, you know, it can possibly, I mean, a lack of confidence there, sure. You know, maybe there's a lack of confidence because I'm not confident that I know all of the lines for this next person that's coming up in my life, this next version of me.
I'm really happy you brought up this idea of character alignment because I think it's crucial, and it shows in you a level of conscientiousness when it comes to wanting to be the person, or I should say, watching what you speak and do to make sure that it's in alignment with who you want to be. And I think that's, first of all, a good takeaway for anyone listening. But another point that I want to make about the alignment is, you know me, I love these deeper questions that are underneath the surface level, right? So the surface level is, okay, should you accept a compliment or not, or why? Or do you accept compliments well, or do you not? And that's the surface question. Now, the deeper question is, when you do receive a compliment and you're not accepting it, or you fight or resist it, why are you resisting it? And does it mean that that this compliment is out of alignment with who you think you are? That maybe deep down someone might think that they're not a good person or they're not worthy of positivity from others, right? And so then the compliment comes in, the positive feedback. There's an incongruence between that information and then the person's self-concept. And because of that incongruence, the person then tries to neutralize it by saying, oh, no, my performance wasn't that great. I messed up here, I messed up there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just putting that forward. I mean, what do you think about that?
You know what I think it is? I don't know if this is what you're saying. I think it's like somebody feels like they don't really have that confidence. So when they put together that outfit and they go to that party, right, that event or that museum, whatever it is, museum opening, or they put together that speech and they go on stage, or they put together a travel itinerary, and the person doing these things to begin with was kind of like nervous that people would think that they're like trying too hard, or they don't know what they're doing, or they're not educated enough yet, or they didn't choose the best spots. They were already kind of like worried about all of these things when they came in, right? And they went through this. So then when somebody gives them that compliment and they're like, oh, it's amazing, it's almost like they don't want to say thank you and accept that they did a great job to somebody on the outside, because I feel like they may think that that's going to open up a doorway for somebody to, I want to say like tell them how they could have done it better, but like I don't want to say that in a bad way, but it's like they don't want to open themselves up. They're like, oh, like, well, thank you, because, I didn't think so. But if they accept that fully, then maybe it then opens up that energy for somebody to come in and, like, attack their work or something like that. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, it does remind me of a quote that I kind of wanted to share on this topic, which is a mentor of mine once said something I consider very brilliant. He said, if you want to be immune to people's criticisms, you need to first become immune to their praise.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, when people compliment you, you can't allow that to inflate your energy. Those are my words, just using the philosophy of Vadim Zeland from Reality Transurfing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't allow it to inflate your energy. When people compliment, I get a lot of compliments these days on various things. I mean, a lot of time in the workplace. And every single time it happens, I see it as information, right? So I don't see it as like, oh, good, Robert, like pat on the back, like you're a worthy person. Like I see it as like, okay, there's something about this thing that I produced or this action that I did, neither of which is me. These are just, things I produce and actions that I take. But somebody out there had a response to these things. And what does that tell me about them? What does that tell me about their values? What does that tell me about the value delivered in these two things, either the action that I took or the product that I produced? And I think marketers have this down pat. Like I think that's great. When I learned the concept, last thought, and then I'll pass it back to you. But when I learned the concept of A/B marketing or A/B testing in marketing, where you have, like, let's say, two versions of an advertisement, and you put you publish both of them, and you see which advertisement gets more sales or or more clicks or more sales conversions. That is the ultimate. I mean, that's bringing scientific perspective to marketing. And it's not about like, oh, they didn't like my advertisement. It's more of like, which we might learn from the school system. Did the teacher like it or not? Did they give me an A or not? It's more of like, okay, well, how does it actually perform in reality in the marketplace? Let's put it out there. Let's see what happens. And the results, I'm not going to take them personally whatsoever. I mean, whatever. They liked the brown color scheme better than the blue one. Okay, whatever. I have no attachment to this. It's about getting the customers, connected with the products that will help them. And it's more of an engineering task versus like do they like me or do they not like me? So that's where, I don't know, any thoughts?
No, I definitely loved that. And I feel like that is how I feel like I started going about life as well. Like I feel like it takes a lot of, first of all, it grows your confidence. It relieves stress. It opens pathways for like the right answers and the right like guidance and pathways to come through and everything. So like when you're going after something, no matter what it is, something that actually worked for me for a really long time and still continues to work for me is not really caring if they like me or not, or what I get or give out of the situation or not. Like I'm just kind of like in the situation, and it's like I'm having a conversation, or I'm putting on a speech, or I'm doing something, I'm picking out a super great outfit. I begin with that mindset where it's like, I don't care if nobody else likes my outfit. I don't care if I don't get any compliments. I don't care if I get a million compliments. It'd be great if I did. That'd be lovely, and thank you so much. But it's like, I don't care that much because I didn't come here for that. I came here to do what I came here to do, So I feel like when you go at it with that perspective and that intention, things become a lot easier. And I feel like there's like less backlash afterwards.
Yeah, so the key part I wrote down from what you said was, I came here to do what I came here to do. And I think a common question for people is, yes, I would love to not care about other people's reactions and thoughts about me, but easier said than done. So how do I do that? How do I not care about what other people think? And I think the answer is, you focus more on your mission. You find, what are you trying to accomplish, and you put your focus on that. Like you said, I came here to do what I came here to do. If I was playing hockey and if I'm like trying to score a goal and I try to think like, okay, this is probably the best route. I'm going to go around this guy. I'm going to shoot. I think the goalie is weak, higher up. So I'm going to shoot high in the, top portion of the goal. I do it, I score. And then someone comes along and compliments me and like, oh yeah, I liked how you did this or that or what. I'm like, it doesn't, well, thank you. But in my mind, I'm like, it's irrelevant. I was there to do a job.
Well, I mean, not to deflect the compliment though, because it is like, thank you.
Oh, right.
Thanks a lot. I love that you loved that. But it's also at the same time, yeah, it's like, I'm not here to feed off of those compliments, like I'm grateful for them, and I appreciate that you like them, whatever I did, my outfit, whatever it is. Excuse me, but like I don't mind if I don't get it. Like I'm not gonna cry.
And I think the follow-up question for any compliment ought to be, okay, what was it about blah 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 that you liked? And I'll ask this a lot because someone comes to me, oh yeah, that was a great project, Robert, great job. I mean, it's one thing, so that you have to ask, what's the purpose of that statement? Okay, it serves multiple purposes, whether it was intended or not by the person who spoke the compliment. One purpose is just, positive, fostering an environment of positivity, right? So that's one thing, right? Another thing is, okay, well, what information does this provide to me? They liked the project. Okay, what was it about it? Because just knowing that doesn't help me to go into the next project and crush the next project, because it was very large. I don't know which part they liked. I don't know, right? So that's number two. Number three, it can reveal opportunities to troubleshoot, because what if I said, oh, well, okay, well, what did you like about the project specifically? And the person says, oh, well, I liked how you made the point that actually I'm going to just use like a corporate example, right? Like, our tech company really needs to pivot because the technology is going to change, and if we don't shift to hardware, blah blah blah, instead of software, then we're in trouble. What if that's not what I was saying in my project? What if I'm like, oh, actually that's not what I was saying. I was saying blah blah blah. So now these are all of the payoffs from the compliment. I don't stop at the compliment and say, oh, okay, thank you for the compliment. Okay, bye-bye now. Because the value has not been, there's a lot of value in gold that has not been mined from the rock.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to chip away a little bit more to get these deeper value.
It's actually, yeah, that's a great point that you made, and I love that. And it also opens up for deeper, more meaningful conversation. Exactly. But also not only deeper, more meaningful conversation, but more like original conversation. Like I feel like after a while, like the conversations kind of become the same. And that's why when you meet somebody, like the best thing that you can do is open their mind to something new. Like we see so much of the same all the time. So like when you can make somebody feel something new or see something new or talk about something new or think about something new, deep down, think deeper, get your brain working in different ways, you're really doing that person a huge favor. And you're also doing yourself a big favor, because it's like so much better conversation than talking about. I'm not saying that like I don't love talking about like which house is better, a pink house or a blue house. Very like basic stuff, but like, if you ever like want to switch up the conversation, I guess we found out today that a compliment is a gateway. Portal's kind of not like, it's like one of those cringy words, I guess, to some people, but it really is like a little portal opener for a deeper, more meaningful and connected conversation, and progressive conversation. So I think that that's cool the way that you laid that out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're on the same page here, because I was going to say, what we've discovered here is it's a compliment sometimes, probably not all the time, but in many situations, could really just be a conversation starter.
Always.
And yeah, and so the key, I think, to not overinflate, what if it's a conversation starter and the person just wants to talk to you and they just give you this, slight compliment, and slight in the sense of, a casual, oh, hey, I liked your blah, 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 right? There's no reason to start downplaying yourself and say, these will be my final thoughts for the day, and then I'll pass it to you for your final thoughts. There's no reason to immediately start downplaying yourself and saying, oh, no, it's, I didn't really do that good of a job, and, if you ask me, and blah, blah, blah. or to take it so seriously, or to think, oh, this person complimented me. What do I do now? Let me think back to that Enter the Mind podcast. What did they say? What did Robert and Kyra say about compliments? And no big deal, just get out there, have these conversations. And over time, you'll start to realize that when things happen in the world of communication, when messages are sent between two people, a person compliments you, there's a lot that could be behind that. There's a lot of possible value that could be had in the subsequent conversation. And so to open up to those various branches and possibilities and say, okay, well, this could be an opportunity for me to learn more about that person's perception. This could be an opportunity for me to meet this person, assuming that you don't know who the person is and they just came up and started a conversation with you. This could be one of many things, right? We don't know, but that's the great thing about communication and human interaction is great things can happen, and we don't know exactly what will be that great thing. But my perspective for life is I am ready. I am hungry for lots of positive outcomes to happen in the day, because I know that as I walk through this planet, the universe will be handing me left and right good things, and it will depend on my level of receptivity to those things. That will determine the quality of my day.
Love it, Robert. Love it. You hit it. You hit us with it. Yeah, I guess for my final words of the day, I don't know. I've always been a very talkative person. So, like, giving somebody a compliment to me is very, very natural. Like, I literally just walk up and down the streets. I'm like, I like your beard. I like your eyebrows. I like your nose. You've got a great nose. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm like, those are great pants on you. So I'm always giving compliments, but to see sometimes the person's face light up and see how happy they get, to receive this compliment that is very genuine and is not very surface level. They're always really happy about it. And it makes me happy to make them feel good. And it can lead to so many different things. And it's funny because we were just talking about this. His name is Brandon Gaydoris. He is the owner and founder of Warm Heart Life. And I think that, like, at his recent event, somebody was talking about, like, I think he was talking about how the easiest way to talk to somebody is by giving a compliment. And, he told, like, this story of how he gave somebody a compliment and it led to something more. But it's so true, So I guess that today, considering it was talked about at the A to B conference and now it's being talked about here on our podcast, it's probably something that's, a little bit needed. So next time somebody gives you a genuine compliment, take it. Learn to sit in that energy and feel comfortable holding that win and holding that success and holding that genuine love that somebody decided to give you today, to feel comfortable holding that.
Yeah, that's great. Great final thoughts. And that makes me think that it would be super beneficial to hear from the listeners, everyone's takes on compliments. And so put in the comments below what your protocol is for accepting compliments. Do you accept compliments well? Do you usually resist them? What do you do personally, and what do you think? Are you happy with that, or do you think you ought to have a different protocol? So once again, thank you all for watching and listening. We will see you in next week's episode.
Did you find at least one gold nugget in today's episode? Then please like and subscribe and share it with a friend. And finally, if you're looking for a community of like-minded people, join our free Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/enterthemind.